My name is John Mroz. Welcome to the second Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit. We are more than 400 professionals from 4 fields, from business, from technology, from law enforcement, and from the policy communities. We are from 47 countries. Many of us were together a year ago in Dallas for the first Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit when representatives of 3 of those 4, we added law enforcement this year, communities from 40 countries were participating. A significant number of you have been parts of teams which have been working on delivering solutions on specific issues that were raised during the Dallas First Summit through the breakthrough groups. So this is not a talk shop. And those of you who are new to this process, you'll quickly learn that we're talking here about 2 things: building trust across boundaries, and the second, and very practical, is delivering solutions. There's a lot of reason why we must move forward in this. Since we met in Dallas, a great deal has happened, both in our Worldwide Cybersecurity Initiative process and in the field of securing cyberspace itself. Those of you who were at breakfast this morning with John Lloyd from the Financial Times, it was interesting. We decided to add that breakfast session saying, let's just talk about today's news, what's in cybersecurity in the news. And by 6 a.m., the dozens of stories were pouring in on such topics as, could a cyber war turn into a real war? All of this, we all know that we have just a huge amount of work to do. The EastWest Institute wants to thank, right at the start, the IEEE as our technical co-sponsor, in particular the Communications Society, our Leaders Forum members, Microsoft, Deloitte, and Goldman Sachs, as well as all the sponsors that have made this summit possible, and special thanks to our partner of London First. For 30 years, the EastWest Institute has engaged in efforts to build trust and to deliver solutions, and that, as we said, is our job today. We'll keep coming back to that theme. We're not here simply to talk about it. We're not here simply to describe the ball more. We're here to try to move the ball down the field. And in the heavy consultations leading to this summit in London, we had really 4 specific challenges emerged. First, private-public partnerships, and we put private first. Private-public partnerships, because in cyberspace it is really driven by private sector. Across borders are more needed than ever to ensure the safety of cyberspace. The private sector, however, must step up and lead more in these efforts. Recent experience with the Raduege Undersea Cables Initiative, led by the IEEE and the EastWest Institute, shows since Dallas that such private-led efforts can be highly effective in mobilizing both the private and the public sectors on seemingly intractable challenges of cyber. The EastWest Institute welcomes our partnering with IPSIG, which is here in London, a terrific organization of major investment banks, and we look forward to starting at this summit a process that we believe will also be very important in this regard. Again, the private sector stepping up, leading in private-public partnerships. Second, the moment has come for creating a truly effective international emergency cyber response capability to deal with major cyber crises. The G8 recent focusing on certs, on improvements of the cert system, and the recent surge of interest in international priority communications beyond that are compelling examples of the impetus for solutions in this area. This subject of creating truly effective international emergency cyber response capability is something that in the next 48 hours we can actually help move that ball down the field. And we believe that the people to do that are in this room. Third, it is both necessary and possible to accelerate the building of trust between major cyber powers. And as evidenced in what you'll be speaking later, this first example of Chinese-American teams, many of the authors in this room from both sides, who have done something which everyone said was impossible, to show a positive practical cooperation in cyber. And there's now new projects on this in youth protection and hacking and intellectual property, which are underway. On that bilateral side. We also, many people were surprised by the accomplishments of the Russian-American teams who worked after the guidance we received from the breakthrough groups in Dallas on the rules of the road. And many, as you know, at the Munich Security Conference, the first effort of that team actually was given quite widespread global attention. Now the question is, how do we move that ball further down the field? That was simply an early start. And one other thing on trust, if we can talk about it, is as we make progress in these relationships between the major cyber powers, we should face up to the fact that at both the national and the international levels, there is a huge and worrisome trust deficit between us, that is, between our professions, even in the same countries. We hear it repeatedly in the same professional disciplines, whether it's business, not trusting law enforcement, business, policy. These communities don't share. They share sometimes among themselves, but they don't share with the other sectors, even in their own countries. I think we have to address that. Fourth, we must address the dichotomy for lessening the opportunity for conflict in cyberspace. In the polling in Dallas a year ago, similar to what you did here today, the overwhelming majority of participants from 40 nations expressed their support for the need for cyber treaties. But let's be honest, a number of powerful governments do not favor international agreements in this space, at least not now. That reality translates into a compelling argument that the full range of options for agreements, for standards, for policies and regulations, which we call the ASPR, that you have in your folders, you see up on the kit ahead of you, the growing gap, the growing delta gap between the enormous progress of technology, the very rapid digitalization of the global economy, the ability of criminals to exploit this, law enforcement with one hand tied behind their back, sometimes two, and down at the bottom, the ASPR, the policy community. That purple box is what we're here to talk about today. So what I'd like to do is now introduce our other introductory speakers. At the end, I'm just going to set a couple rules of the road for the rest. But it's now my pleasure to introduce a very distinguished gentleman, Dr. Byeong Lee, who is president of the IEEE Communication Society, and they are the technical co-sponsors of this summit, in fact, of the entire Worldwide Cybersecurity Initiative. So, Dr. Lee.
Thank you, John. On behalf of the technical community that builds and sustains cyberspace, and as one of those who have been involved in government policy side of these matters, I find this Cybersecurity Summit to be remarkable and important gathering. We have this week the unusual opportunity for the technical and policy communities from around the world to come to discuss the most perplexing issue of our time. And we can make a difference depending on what we do today and tomorrow. Today, based on the maturity of IP-based mobile networks, smart devices, and open content markets, a diverse set of ICT components including communications, computing, broadcasting, media, the OS platform, software, content, application, and even print media and advertising has begun to converge. Such a megatrend of digital convergence will eventually lead to forming a smart society and smart era. The smart society would be composed of real space and cyberspace, which are tightly coupled together like two sides of a coin. The smart society would be fully connected society equipped with cyberspace infrastructure needed for ubiquitous computing and communications. There are many issues to address until we can build a smart society, including technology, traffic, spectrum, revenue, and others. Yet, the most important element to secure for the smart society is privacy and security. As in such all-connected society, if a life would be heavenly if privacy and security are fully guaranteed, but otherwise, it would be like hell. As the technical leader in communications and networks, IEEE Communication Society is very pleased to co-sponsor a Cybersecurity Summit. The IEEE is the largest professional institute in the world with 400,000 members, and the Communication Society, or ComSoc, is the second largest society in IEEE and the most globalized society with 50,000 members and 200 chapters and 30 sister societies worldwide. Communication Society takes it as an important mission to stimulate development of communications technologies on one side and to secure provision of secure communication services on the other side. We do the same for cyberspace. We build Internet technology and infrastructure, and sustain Internet cybersecurity as well. The IEEE Communication Society's commitment to solving these problems is evidenced by my joining John Mroz in signing Memorandum of Understanding at last year's summit in Dallas. The MOU formalized our mutual commitment to work as partners in closing the technology policy gap in so many critical areas. As John just showed, this one, the fighting spam to build the trust, that is a very good example of achieving breakthroughs by international collaboration. Technology building developed by the IEEE community needs to be supported by many more such private sector-led breakthroughs in order for us to have the cyberspace that we strive for. I expect that the world's combined efforts and collaboration will ensure affordable communications among the world's citizens, governments, and vibrant global online business, while minimizing negative impacts of cyberspace, thereby creating a harmonious global Internet society that ensures a safe digital economy and embraces global culture. I hope that you find values out of this second Cybersecurity Summit. Also, I hope that you can guarantee generate fruitful results, identifying challenges and devising new methods to confront the challenges throughout the 2 days to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. We're next honored for the first time in the summit to have Dr. Hamadoun Touré, who's the Secretary General of the International Telecommunications Union and soon to be partner with the EastWest Institute in this field. I also want to thank him very much for coming and spending most of the day yesterday with the EastWest Institute's International Youth Congress on Digital Citizenship. You'll be hearing about that tomorrow and meeting a number of the young people here. One of the complaints about last year's summit was there was almost nobody there under the age of 35. And in fact, this field, by definition, needs to have the views of the younger people. And you'll see there are a number of them here today, and there'll be many more tomorrow. Please, Dr. Touré.
Thank you, John, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues. We live in a world where information and communication technologies have become ubiquitous and now perform an essential function in education, health, finance, trade, energy, and indeed in every other sector. And I would like to thank and congratulate the EastWest Institute for the work they've been doing over 30 years now. And I would like to associate myself and my organization to the work you're doing. We do appreciate initiatives like this, and we believe that bringing them at the global level will be able to make the world a better place. We are living in a world driven by ICTs, and unfortunately, we all know that the next world war, if it was to take place, would take place in the cyberspace. And we all know for sure, based on conventional wars, and I'm sitting near a retired general, the best way to win a war is to avoid it in the first place. And I hope that we will win the cyber war and by avoiding it. Over the past few months, we have also seen the dramatic and catalytic role that ICTs are now playing in modern diplomacy and the political arena, for example, with the WikiLeaks and across the Middle East. At ITU, the United Nations Specialized Agency for ICTs, we are very much aware that ICTs remain the best tool we have for social and economic development and accelerating progress toward meeting the Millennium Development Goals. This is why I put together last year the Broadband Commission for Digital Development together with UNESCO Director General, and we presented our report to UN Secretary General at the eve of the Millennium Summit last year in September. Increased connectivity, however, brings its own problems, of course, and notably the need to assure global public confidence and security in the use of ICTs, cybersecurity in short, which is why we are all here today. And since the World Summit on Information Society that took place in two phases in Geneva in 2003 and in Tunis in 2005, that has assigned ITU to lead, to coordinate the global efforts to bring more security and confidence in the cyberspace. We've been very busy, and after my election 5 years ago, I put together a global cybersecurity agenda, the GCA, as a global framework for international cooperation. More recently, we are proud to have forged a strong and highly supportive relationship with IMPACT, the International Multilateral Partnership Against Cyber Threats. As the world's first comprehensive alliance against cyber threats, IMPACT is a key organization fulfilling ITU's cybersecurity mandate in an operational sense, providing our 192 member states with access to expertise, facilities, and resources to effectively address cyber threats, as well as assisting UN bodies in protecting their ICT infrastructures. Already more than 130 countries are now formally part of the ITU Impact operational deployment, and I would encourage all remaining member states and UN bodies to join this global endeavor so that they too may benefit from the services and capabilities provided. ITU has always been a firm believer in the power of partnership, and cybersecurity is no exception. As well as the ITU Impact Partnership, we are also joining forces with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, to collaborate globally on assisting member states in mitigating the risks posed by cybercrime. We have also signed an MOU with Symantec Corporation, which will provide ITU with expert intelligence reports on current and future trends in ICT security to be shared amongst all ITU member states. I'm pleased that Kaspersky Lab also is one of the members of the ITU Impact Board. Distinguished colleagues, cybersecurity is a crucial issue that affects every government, every business, and every individual online. But we will only be successful in addressing the issue if we work together, if we cooperate and collaborate and bring all the stakeholders to the table to make the world online a safer and more reliable place to interact with one another. In Davos 2 years ago, when I was challenging the world to come with a cyber peace treaty, I was saying the cyber peace treaty will be one of its kind. It will be a peace treaty, will have around the table governments, civil society, private sector, and simply individuals who will be around. Whether we are mentally prepared for that, whether our governments, our private sector, are we all prepared to sit down around the same table? That is a question for us. But I really commend initiatives like the EastWest Institute as one big step forward to help us bring this. I hope that we'll be able to bring all partners together and work together and make this world a better place. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Touré. Thank you very much. And next we turn to General Harry Raduege, who is a lifetime in this field, chairman of Deloitte Center for Cyber Innovation and honorary co-chair of the summit. Harry.
Very good. Thank you, John. And good morning, everyone. Let me add my warm welcome to all our attendees here today who are actually representing 40 different nations of the world. This is very impressive. And I'd like to congratulate John Mroz and his staff for their hard work in arranging this impressive setting. And I also would like to congratulate all participants for this impressive turnout. First, I'd like to ask for a show of hands of how many of you attended last year's Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit in Dallas, Texas. That's an impressive number of repeat participants here this year. And I'm sure we're going to be able to build upon what we did last year in Dallas and also what we continue to do through our breakthrough groups this year. Even since this last year, the importance and critical nature of cybersecurity have been continually reinforced on international scales throughout government and industry and within personal experiences. Almost daily, and we learned that again today at our quick breakfast group where we had some updates on what was going on, we read and hear about the significant cybersecurity breaches in the news. And indeed, our work at this summit is warranted and much needed. The EastWest Institute's worldwide cybersecurity initiatives, including these annual summits, are unique in several ways. First, EastWest Institute has prepared an initial listing of the Cyber 40 nations of the world, in part to help identify and address the most pressing cyberspace and cybersecurity issues confronting us today and projected for tomorrow. Second, private-public partnerships have been highly encouraged in most, if not all, national arenas, but EastWest Institute also has been encouraging such partnership on the international stage for addressing cybersecurity issues. Third, EastWest Institute has established breakthrough groups to open the international dialogue and to become creative and bold in working together at these annual summits and throughout the year on the most pressing and mutually agreed upon cybersecurity issues. Last year, Jim Quigley, the global CEO of Deloitte Touche Tomates, challenged our Dallas gathering by saying that individuals around the world should be engaged to build an international culture of security. In large part, that's what this annual summit is all about on the cybersecurity front. The greatest value and contribution to this process will be the results generated by the breakthrough groups. So as was the case last year in Dallas, and prior to breaking into our breakthrough groups today, we encourage those chairing the individual groups to gather names and emails of the individual members and to continue the dialogue that takes place here today and tomorrow throughout this next year. In fact, establishing a wiki connection is an effective means for opening discussion ideas. All of this can be accomplished in anticipation of our third summit, which is now planned to take place in India next year. Again, welcome to the second annual Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit. We're pleased to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry, very much. And our final and last speaker is Sir David Veness, who's Chairman of the Policing Advisory Board of London First, our partner for the summit, and Honorary Co-Chairman. Please.
Thank you, John, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of London First, it gives me very great pleasure to add our welcome to you to London and to the second Worldwide Security Summit. We've been working as a partner of the EastWest Institute for more than a year as part of a combined effort to promote new efforts by the leaders of government and business to address specific problems of information and network security. As Chairman of the Policing and Security Advisory Board of London First, and on behalf of the corporations, businesses and organisations who make up our membership, we're delighted that there will be a London legacy from this summit, as there was from the first summit in Dallas. This legacy is to be called the London Process and will be in the form of 4 main initiatives. The first concerns public-private coordination in the event of a major cyber emergency. This effort, with both UK national dimensions as well as international aspects, is being led by a group of the world's top investment banks based in London. And I would like to offer my congratulations to the people leading this effort. They have truly demonstrated how essential private sector leadership will be if we are to ensure maximum security for our digital economy. The second initiative is associated with the London Summit will be the effort to establish new legal approaches to the issue of privacy in the light of the new cyber threats. This will be no small feat and is being led by some of the UK's most eminent figures in the field. A third initiative will be given a level of prominence is the effort to harmonise legal jurisdictions for cybercrime, again being led by a group of distinguished professionals, in this case international lawyers. And it includes representatives from Norway, India, Russia, the United Kingdom, the United States and Sri Lanka. And fourthly, the final element of the London legacy will be the creation of a new international alliance for youth protection and digital citizenship. Ladies and gentlemen, your participation in this summit and in the London process is something of which I hope you can be justly proud. You are part of the solution. London First is greatly encouraged that its members have supported the positioning of our city in such a prominent role in the EastWest Institute's worldwide cybersecurity initiative. London First will be delighted to work with EWI in the forthcoming year and with our sister organisation in India, Bombay First, to ensure that the business leaders of our two great cities can engage fully in the third worldwide cybersecurity summit to be held in Delhi in late 2012, and in the various multinational teams that will be working hard in the intervening period to develop breakthroughs that will make us all feel more secure in cyberspace. Ladies and gentlemen, John, on behalf of London First, a very warm welcome and the very best of luck in this vital and important work. Thank you.
Thank you, David, very much. Before I turn over the podium to our keynote speaker, I'd like to just make a couple rules of the road, or rules of the game here. First of all, plenary sessions are on the record. What is said here is on the record. Breakthrough groups are designed to maximize intense, frank discussion. We try to emphasize the idea of acute listening. Those of you who are, how many of you think you're good acute listeners? Okay, so not many of us are, but we try in those breakthrough groups to be acute listeners, not just talkers, and therefore the frank discussion to move the ball down the field. These discussions are in the breakthrough groups are protected by Chatham House rules. Punctuality, I know we're setting not a very good example at the beginning, but we will get back on track and we will ask you all to be punctual. Finally, a new feature of the summit this year is the 4 poster sessions scheduled during these breaks in the Whittle Room, which is the room right opposite us, and during the cocktail reception this evening, whereby the authors of juried papers are available to meet with you. This represents the best collection of professional opinion from around the world, featuring leading experts from China and Malaysia to Italy and Japan. We thank the IEEE for partnering with us in selecting the best of the many submissions. And as Dr. Lee pointed out earlier, the cybersecurity in the academic community, cybersecurity, we're moving into and helping to pioneer moving into some new space. And so we expect that although we have roughly, I believe, 28 that were juried to warrant your attention at this summit, we expect to be at 100 next year. And so we look forward to that. Now I'd like to turn over to Ross Perot, Jr., the co-chairman of the EastWest Institute, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Ross?